Are you awake? This podcast is brought to you by cbj.com/beats. If you need a beat for your next album, mixtape, or demo project, check out cbj.com/beats. That's SLEEPEJ.com/beats. Warning, this podcast may offend some people unintentionally. So if you get offended easily, you are advised to turn off now. And if you're still here listening, thanks and enjoy the show. What's up with the world? It's your boy Sleepy J. You are tuned in to Sleep Talkin. Appreciate you guys for checking me out. First episode's up and running, and I thank you guys for supporting that. This is episode 2. We out here, we working. I appreciate everyone for listening and tuning in. All right. So this week, I am going to get to the music. Yes, that is right. I know last week I introduced who I was and what I was all about, but this week we are going to talk about music, things that are relevant today. And, well, I think today we'll see how today goes. But today, well, last week, Childish Gambino, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but still been like tracking pretty well. Childish Gambino dropped a music video to a song called "This Is America." If you haven't seen it or heard it, it's kind of like, if you listen to it, sonically it sounds amazing. It's got a like real catchy parts to it. The beat where it's like, oh yeah, I kind of like the upbeat of this, and then it gets dark, and it's got a real it's got a dope dark part to it too. Like when I guess it's where the hook is when it says "This Is America." It's like real dark. Like it's dark, but it's dope. Like if you're into beats and you're like, oh man, like you were to hear that beat, you'd be like, man, that beat is tight. Like, oh man. But like even the jammy parts, it's like, oh man, that's tight too. Like sonically, it sounds amazing, but at the same time, it's also confusing because where the hook is and where the verses are, they're not necessarily in the same pocket of a beat. Like usually you have a upbeat or a downbeat type of track whenever you're working on a track, but this one in particular doesn't. It kind of like, it's almost like they fused two types of songs together and still made it sound like legit and dope. But caused some controversy. A lot of people are like, oh, if you watch the video, he's shooting people and dancing and stuff, and there's chaos going on in the background. There's so many deep layers to it that a lot of people are like, that's what everyone's talking about. Like, oh my goodness, it is such an amazing video, and he did such a great job. And not to take away from it, like it's a legit video. I had to watch it a couple times just to kind of see what the big deal was, I guess. Because again, I heard the song. Like I was like, oh man, that's kind of jammy. But then he throws me off with this dark part in it, gunshots and things. But listening to it, and watching the video and dissecting it like everyone else, hats off to him. Like he did a creative job, a good thing. I mean, getting a lot of attention to it. But I've also heard people say it's groundbreaking, it's amazing, and it's all these great things. And not to take away from yes, it is a great video, a good song, and all that. But it's not the first time we've heard hip hop do this. Like hip hop's been known to do a lot of songs about the inequalities and the things that are wrong in America. So I don't, again, not trying to take away from him and his message. Great that it's getting the attention that it's getting, but it's not new, is what I'm trying to get to. It's not a new concept. It's not new that people are doing this or have done this or whatever the case is. Before I go off onto this, how it's not new, I do want to say, there's last night, I got a text about this girl, Nichole Arbor. and she did. I don't think it's supposed to be a parody. I think it's just supposed to be a remix to a song. And I want to say first of all, it's trash, and not trashing it because she did. I'm not saying that it's trash because of her doing her own version of the song, so to speak. It's like it's not trash because of the content that she said in it. Because in the content of what she's saying, it's legit, it's decent, but at the same time, we haven't even let Childish Gambino live with his version yet, and you want to do your remake for feminism, and I feel like that's problematic. Like one, Childish Gambino came through with a original content piece, original beat, or original music concept, and all this, and then you want to piggyback on it and try and do your feminist version. And again, I'm not hating on the feminism concepts that you said or you were portraying in it, but I am saying like could have let this other video breathe. And I mean, this girl, she's got her own following. She doesn't need to come in and piggyback off of Childish Gambino and what he's doing. It's got more than enough followers on her YouTube, from what I can tell. So again, I'm not trashing her for even doing that. Like people in hip hop and music do time. What I'm really saying is trash is like it sounds trash because what she did was um she kind of left bits and pieces of Childish Gambino's version in the video or in the music. Like she left like the biggie parts, the jammy parts that were in Childish Gambino's version, and she said she would sing over it and it just didn't fit. And that's where I think I'm gonna say it's trash. Like the rapping or the singing, the rapping she was doing. I'm not gonna say it was legit as in good, but it was legit in the concepts and the things that she was pointing out. Like it was okay, but when she was trying to sing, it sounded like shit. It was just a bad version. I hate to even point it out because then it causes people to go look at things. But I try to be objective and listen to things. At least I want to be in the know and what is it that's causing the uproar with people. And seeing this, like she disabled her comments. I don't know if she does it on all her videos, but on this video in particular, she did. I don't know if she got a lot of hate comments or whatever the case is, but just just in my opinion, the song itself sounded like shit. Like it just was a bad song because she meshed too much of what Childish Gambino did and what she wanted to do to make a song. Now there's like when you recreate something, like if you make your own version, you either, at least from my experiences and what I've seen, I've always heard like a good remix is like, oh, you took the same hook and then you changed the verses. That's fine. Or maybe you keep the same cadence of the same verses and hooks, but you have your own. I've seen Stan remakes all the time after Eminem did it. I heard a local rapper in St. Louis, Bodine, he did Dear Satan instead of Dear Stan. Same concept, but he was writing a fuck you letter to Satan. Um, just kind of took the same concept and changed it up a little bit. Heard more recently, there's a Justine Valentine. She did Dear Just or something like that. I'm not really sure what it's called, but she did the uh feminine. It's like a Stan version for herself, and she's talking to herself. It's literally the same Stan beat and all that, but she just flipped it to her own thing. Those type of remakes are great. They sound okay. It's been a long enough time that Eminem got to live off of it. Now we're talking 10 after the fact. Now you guys want to work on it. By all means, it's lived its life. You're not affecting him and letting that live. But this Childish Gambino thing hasn't even finished living yet, and you're already trying to recreate it. And I'd be more. And again, the feminism idea and concept is a great concept. Really think I would have preferred a better execution on the song, though. Like I said, she should have done a better cadence to her singing or something, because it just sounded mumbled. It sounded like really couldn't sing. I mean, I don't know if she can sing, but in this version that I've heard, and I don't know whoever was singing on this, it sounded like shit. It just crap. Um, don't suggest you go listen to it, but if you do, you'll hear what I'm talking about. Like you can hear, like yeah, this is probably a better idea than execution. Again, not to take away from the content in what she was saying in her verses or her music, but the the mixing of the contents and things like that. I don't think it was in her best interest, in my opinion. But I don't know. I really think she shouldn't have done it. I think it was a crap version. Um, it was really poorly executed. She should have let him live with his. Again, she has enough of following. She could have raised. Sorry, she could have raised her own. She could have raised all of her own awareness and trolled enough people with "This Is America," with "This Is Feminism," on her own. She didn't have to take into the um, Childish Gambino platform, and she, from what I can tell, she's kind of problematic on her YouTube channel. She does a lot of things about her exes and how to be creepy, and she talks about people all the time. So I'm sure she gets a lot of people outraged all the time. And I feel like if you are a troll like that, then you, one, don't disable your comments. If you want to troll people and piss people off, you better take in that energy that you're putting out there. Two, gonna be out here being problematic and just you want to get people riled up, and you're using the whole, this is how I'm gonna rile people up by saying all these problematic things, or talking about these controversial issues. Want to open up that conversation, open up the conversation and be prepared for the conversation that comes your way, and defend yourself with that. That's just my personal opinion. Um, but you know, that's not what I was wanting to talk about. Like that just was a new thing that developed at the very last minute last night that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna add that into this conversation. But back to the Childish Gambino version and how it's groundbreaking. Is it new and groundbreaking? Again, no, it is not new and groundbreaking. And I'm taking this concept. I seen it on Facebook. Someone's like, I love this video. It's so uh, new and groundbreaking and innovative. And again, it's maybe innovative in how he painted the picture, but it's not necessarily a thing. We've talked about politics from back in the 60s and 70s and all that stuff. Like plenty of controversy. What's that song? Can't even think of his name. One song that I even know. It's the only song I know him for doing. But "Born in the USA." That song was about being a child of immigrant family, and he was born in the USA, and it's nothing new. This is something music does on a regular basis, and especially in hip hop. Um, Trick Daddy in the late 90s, early 2000s, I remember he did a song called America, spelled with a K. And it was talking about being a black man in America and how it's supposed to be the land of the free. And it didn't seem like that to him. Um, Tupac did a song called Trapped. It was talking about being harassed by police and how being black or Mexican or anything other than white in America, you're trapped because they're harassing you and they're constantly messing with you for no reason. Um, Well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, man. NWA. I mean, they just did the NWA movie, a couple years ago, and were in trouble for "fuck the police" because they were being harassed by the police. I mean, these are not new topics. These are topics that we've been talking about for the last 20, 30 years plus, Um, and again, I'm not taking away from Childish Gambino. I'm not saying that it's my only new point to this is that it's not new and groundbreaking. That's all that I'm trying to say. And there's plenty of music out here to show that this is the same thing we've been talking about. I think the difference, though, uh, between like stuff in the 80s and the 90s, even the early 2000s, is the internet. The internet is getting bigger and bigger. It's more of a thing. Um, in the 80s, I don't. The internet was a thing. It was probably mostly used for emails. I know there wasn't really a whole lot of video sharing and audio being shared that way. And in the 90s, again, I know that it wasn't a big thing if it was being done. In the 2000s, it's been growing since 2000s, but it wasn't what it is today. Today, we all walk around with smartphones in our pockets or tablets or shoot, everything that we have pretty much has internet access. We use Wi-Fi, we use cell towers or whatever the case is. So the internet is definitely something that propels those messages and those things and what makes things go viral. You know, um, back then, you would hear it on the radio whenever, the Rodney King situation may have happened or, you know, whatever riots may have happened. Like for a long time, our biggest um, voice came from the radio or from TV news, but nowadays, like the news is on your devices. We hear, we see everything that's happening, and we see it so fast and so much more than we used to in the past, which I think is what causes one a lot more of attention. Because if you follow your favorite artist or you follow your favorite actor or singer or whoever the case is that you follow, um, whether it's on their Instagram, their Twitter, or whatever Snapchats, whatever the new thing is, whatever you're following them on, follow them. They post something they seen someone else do, or if they're involved in it, maybe it does. Shailene Woodley. I remember a year or so ago, whenever everyone was talking about the pipeline it was in Colorado. I remember I seen a video clip of her getting arrested because she was out there protesting with everyone else about how not to be fracking underneath the Indian reservation. People seem to forget about that. I think Trump like fuck that shit. We're gonna get our oil type thing, but um, you follow her and you'll see, maybe she does a lot more political stuff and you see it a lot faster now because it's on your Instagrams or your YouTubes or whatever it is everyone is watching nowadays. I get most of my stuff off of Instagram and YouTube. I see clips of all these different celebrities and things it's because everything's curated, first of all. Like, if you don't know, all these devices you have, they see what you watch. And then, like, once you watch it once, then they try and put it in your feed a second time. The more you click on that same stuff that you've already looked up once or twice, it starts to cycle that stuff in. It pulls from the internet, says like, oh, you looked at I don't know, cats today, and they'll show you all the cat situations. And that's how the curating works. If you don't know, that's how you wind up. If you're always like, man, I don't know, I looked up this and now I can't get away from it. You looked into getting a new website, and now you got all these different websites that are trying to get you to buy your domain and host through them, and that's how this curating goes. And which makes you think it's kind of creepy, but I mean that's what cookies are. If you don't know, like on your phone or your devices, there's a cookies thing where you can erase them, and but yeah, anything you click on, it's subject to being resold to you because that's the agreement. And that's again how you get your news and all of the things that you're interested in. And how you're like, oh man, when I get on my phone, I see all the latest NFL updates or all the latest Major League Baseball things and whatever it is. We have so many things that we curate to ourselves that you don't even realize it, or you do realize it and it kind of creeps you out because you're like, how do they know I like this stuff? But it's really, you set up your profile and there's a profile for everything that you click on the internet. And I think that it's weird that people don't understand that that's how that works. Or they think that like, oh, my privacy is being invaded, but it's not an invasion, so to speak. It's more about you've agreed to it when you agreed to get onto the internet. Um, you click on these devices, you say agree to terms and agreements and all that, and it's all in that huge ass document that you agreed to with all the legal jargon and all that stuff. And um, when I was younger, I used to try to read all of those as much as I could because I didn't want to get charged for anything. I was always looking for like, are they going to charge me? Are they going to charge me? Nowadays, I'm like everyone else, like, yeah, just agree and keep it moving. But there's a lot of things that you agree to, like in those things, like in those agreements, you wind up agreeing to, um, more or less, like you agree to let them curate or sell the information that you click on to advertisers. So like Google's like obviously one of the biggest ones. Everyone uses Google for this and that, but Google's tracking everything you search all the time. And then what they do is they tell advertisers like, hey, people between the ages of this and this is what they're searching for. This person in particular, they want to look at a website, so we're gonna, sell you the ad space for them to click on your website. And so that's where all that stuff comes from. If you guys don't know, I mean, I know this, and I think everyone should know this, but people don't. People don't. They act dumb when it comes to things like this, and I think it's common knowledge. At least it should be that this is what's happening with your stuff. And sometimes I get annoyed because like I don't necessarily, just because I looked up one thing one time doesn't mean that's all that I want to see. I think yesterday I ran across a clip from Dick Gregory. He was talking about Malcolm X and how he was killed. And I don't really want to get into it because I'm not necessarily the expert on that. But what he did do was he raised some questions, which made me look it up. Now today I'll probably see a bunch of Malcolm X clips on my YouTube channel while I'm looking at it. And I'm like, not that I have a problem with it, but that's not necessarily what I want to see. And I mean, if it's something new that I was like, oh, I've never seen this and never seen that, I'll click on it. But what becomes problematic is then I have nothing but clips on there. And that's when I get annoyed. Like, oh my goodness, I still want to see my, other videos that I watch, or I still want to see um, newer, more relevant things. But you have to, sometimes you have to seek it out just to get it back to its normal setting. I don't know how I went off into this whole tangent about the things and how the internet works, but that's why we call this sleep talking, because we don't know how the conversation is going to go. I mean, I guess it's all so relevant. Like I said, we were talking about music and the harassment of America towards minorities and people like that, and it just kind of snowballed. Funny how rabbit holes work, like another one to another one, and you just end up on the whole other side of the world. Like, man, didn't mean for that to happen. I was just trying to find this and wound up looking into a whole bunch of other stuff. Um, so let's see. I talked about Childish Gambino for the Nichole Arbors. Oh, recently, Triple G had a fight. You guys don't know who that is. Really don't know how to say the dude's name. I just call him Triple G. Gennady Golovkin or something like that. I don't know what the third G is. Pretty much harder than those two words. fought a guy. He was supposed to fight May Canelo Alvarez. Sorry about that. And didn't because Canelo tested negative for use of steroids, which I don't. One, I want to say I don't necessarily. Let's go into another time right about. All right, so we're talking about boxing. My opinion on this Triple G Canelo mess. One, I am a huge boxing fan. I have a few friends, not many, that are into boxing, and they know how boxing works. Don't know how boxing works. Here is how they score in a boxing match, and this is I had to learn this from watching Floyd fights because Floyd Mayweather would always win on the points card. I never understood it, so it forced me to have to sit down, figure out how he's winning all these fights, and I've realized this. You don't know. Punch to the stomach is 2 points. A punch to the head is 1 point. So if you're just taking headshots, if you're a boxer and you're just throwing all these headshots, you don't knock them out. Probably gonna lose if the other person keeps working your body because they're getting 2 points to your 1 point every time. So when Canelo and Triple G fought the first time, I had it pretty much evenly matched. 1 round, person gets 2 rounds. Next person gets 2 rounds, and then somewhere around the middle, it transitioned to where I think early on I had it like, maybe very very early on, like the first 3 fights, it was like 1 for 1, but it was more in Canelo's favor. Towards the middle, switched up to Triple G. Then I think they did the same thing through the middle, like after like round 5, it was like round from 5 to 8 or 9, same thing. 1 for 1, 1 for 1. So they had a lot of 1 for 1s in the middle, but I think it was a slight win in favor the last 2 rounds because I believe he won. And if you add it all up, I think it winds up giving Canelo like 1 or 2 rounds over Triple G. But it was also very close that I could see if anyone thought it was a draw. And before they said it on the cards, I said it was either a draw or in Canelo's favor. Like I knew Triple G didn't win because I knew what they were looking for as far as for these judges. But so that's what I want to say about the first time they met. Now the second time that they met, I think there's politics into the Triple G, who a lot of people think he's one. Triple G's a little bit than Canelo, and he's just now kind of getting his. That has something to do with it. No, like if you don't know, he's probably not going to fight a whole lot. Now, most fighters are done by the time they're 40. So even in the boxing world, he's old. Um, and with that being said, I don't see him boxing much longer, trying to get his money. So that's fine. Do your thing. That's not what I'm talking about. But with Canelo, he's young and he's like he's got like 50 some odd fights under his belt now. Fought a lot of people. The boy's only like 25, 26, maybe 27 at the oldest. He's still got at least another 5 to 10 belt to fight. And they're both on Golden Boy, and neither one, like I'm sure Golden Boy doesn't want either one of these cash cows to start losing steam because they're taking too many losses. So I think what they've done is they've created this. Okay, now they've put an asterisk on Canelo, which I don't like because I think like okay, if he tested for these steroids, now from now on, Canelo's always gonna be questioned on whether or not he's on steroids. But it saves face for Triple G because now if Triple G loses, he lost because supposedly Canelo was on steroids, and Triple G steroids. That's the way I see it. I think it's like either way, double edged sword. It saves face for either fighter because you can also say like, oh well, Canelo lost because he's no longer on steroids too. Either way, and it saves face for both. That's my opinion. I don't know here that in Mexico it's pretty common for you to put steroids in your cows so that way they're bigger and everything like that. And I've seen some yoked out pictures of cows. I didn't know where they were from, but if they're from Mexico and they're that yoked out, like yo, those cows look bigger than bulls for real. But think I think they're just trying to save face for both fighters. They didn't want to lose out, and they didn't want to have their best interest at heart, and they're losing out on money. They're trying to keep the money going to both of these fighters. Fight because they're the biggest draws in the middleweight division right now. So I think that's where they were going with all that stuff. There's another guy in the middle, Danny Garcia. His dad is hilarious to me. It's kind of funny because like Danny is a good boxer because of his dad. He's only got like one loss, I think, to Keith Thurman. Um, but he's good. I don't know how to explain it. He's kind of flashy but quiet and humble at the same time. But his dad is like loud in all the personality. I follow his dad on Instagram because he's the whole personality you want to see. He talks all the shit. He plays all the dope, hip hop music and all that stuff. I've been following him for a few years, but even still, like Danny is a good boxer. He does talk slick a little bit, but his dad's just better at it. His dad's just got more personality, more flair. But anyways, I mean that has nothing to do with Canelo and Triple G. Anyways, so on May 5th, Triple G was supposed to fight Canelo, but because he tested positive for steroids, they had to suspend Canelo. So we'll probably see that fight in September, the rematch. But Triple G, like everyone was talking, like, oh, he beat the bricks off this dude, whatever, whatever. And I'm not saying he didn't beat that dude. Like I seen it. He knocked dude out. I think in the second round it was. It's impressive. Triple G knocks out a lot of people. Like Triple G has the highest knockout ratio than anybody in boxing right now, I believe. I mean, if there's anyone that has a higher rating, I would probably imagine it's what's his name? Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's a bad dude. Like he's a heavyweight boxer. If you don't know who he is, he's a bad dude. Like highly impressive. I think he's literally knocked out every opponent of his except for one. So yeah, he's a bad dude. He's only like 30, but again, that's Deontay Wilder. He's a heavyweight, different division, so it doesn't matter. But Triple G has the highest knockouts, I think, in the middleweight division. And before the fight on the May 5th, um, he hadn't knocked anyone out in two fights, and for him, it was a cold streak. But I just think he finally fought people that knew how to, one, either had stronger chins than everyone else, or two, they just knew how to move. Like if you guys don't know, one of the last ones was Canelo, which was the fight before May 5th. So obviously it's supposed to be the rematch. So which was last September. But here's the thing about Canelo. After Canelo fought Floyd, I don't know what it was, like 5 6 years ago. Canelo came back with like some swagger. Like he realized what Floyd was doing, and he's implemented a lot of what he learned from Floyd in how he fought. It's not to say that he, like a lot of people say he runs now, but he doesn't run. He's just learned, like, I don't have to sit here and take that punishment. I don't have to sit here and keep getting punched. He's learned how to like do fadeaways and how to sidestep. He's not running. He's being more agile instead of sitting there squaring up with you and taking all the punishment. He's learned how to move, and he's getting better at his footwork and that. And I think Triple G has a problem with that. Like Triple G is like, I just want to stand here and throw down, and I mean, those are amazing fights when it happens. But one, um, Canelo is not the person you want to do that with. Canelo has them hands, and I think whenever they fought the last time, I think everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he was running, he wasn't." You know, it gets exciting. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention, when you're boxing, if you have your hands up, any punch that gets landed with your hands up, covering your face or your stomach, doesn't count. If you're covering your face and you get hit in the stomach, those points count. But if you're throwing a jab to the face and my hands are up to block it, those points don't count. You don't get any points for that. So if you're ever watching a boxing match and you see it, it's exciting, but one guy is like covering up and not throwing any punches, it looks exciting, but as long as he's covering, none of those points are going to count at the end of the fight. Um, they only count as if it's a clean punch that they can count as a hit. Um, Maybe physically it counts because you're going to get tired. Anytime you take that much punishment, it's going to hurt and it's going to be tiresome to keep your hands up, but it doesn't count in the point game. Um, but anyways, Canelo learned how to work the ring. He learned his angles. He learned how to fade in and out of different situations that allows him to control the tempo of a fight. And like I said, you can go back, you can watch these Canelo fights. I've been watching Canelo since before he fought Floyd. I think one or two fights before he fought Floyd, and every fight ever since he's fought Floyd. And I've realized, like, man, he came back with this new kind of swagger, this new intelligence of the ring. And again, he's a young boy, so he doesn't. A lot of these fighters, they've been fighting. They're in their 30s. They've been fighting for a long time. Canelo's been fighting a long time, but he's been fighting since he was like 15, and he hasn't developed a glass jaw or any weak spots. He's still learning. He's still like, if you're young, you can take a lot of punishment and not necessarily realize that you take that kind of punishment. You're just used to being out here living that life. And I think Canelo's just in that time frame. Like, he's in that sweet spot. He's in his prime. You're not going to knock him out easily. And I think that's the thing that people don't understand. Like, Triple G hit him a couple good times. He hit Triple G a couple good times in their last fight. And you're not. He's not the guy you're gonna knock out. One, because he's gonna use his angles to his benefit. Two, he's also going to like, you can be strong and you can hit him. But if he realizes that you hit hard, he's gonna start fading away on you and use his angles to hit you and move, hit you and move, hit you and move. Which is not wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with hitting you and moving. Like, he can still knock you out from doing it, because he still mixes it up more than Floyd would. He's just got more of a slicker style than he used to. He just doesn't stand there and get, he's just not going to sit there and brawl with you like a lot of people think he should, or, wish. But, I'm saying all that to say, like, if you're a boxing enthusiast like I am, know that, yeah, Triple G did an impressive win, and he can knock out somebody, and he could probably knock out most people. But what I've found from Triple G, in my opinion, he usually knocks people out late. He takes a lot of punishment before he knocks somebody out, usually. And I don't see him doing that to Canelo. I think it'll either, when they fight a second time, I think it's going to either come down to a card. It's got to come down to a card. And if you don't knock Canelo down, it's the same thing with Floyd. If you don't knock him down, like a legit knockdown where they have to start counting, you're not going to win. Like, they're champions. You have to, if they're cash cow champions and they're going to the card and they're known to go to the card, you're going to have maybe I'm tripping type mentality. He's a champion. I'm not going to go against the champion. He probably won. I just probably didn't see it right. You're not going to give him a big win, but you're going to say, like, I give him the edge. That's typically how I think those scorecards go. Now, if you do, and I'm very impressive, like, I knocked him down 6 times and whatever, I think that's whenever you're going to get those. That's, you got to knock the champion down 6 times, and that's how you're going to get that win. Or, it has to be, impressively known that you've interrupted his fight. Otherwise, they're not going to give you that chance. That's my opinion about how this boxing thing, as far as for the I know for a fact the point system I talked about, that's how boxing works. That's my opinion how I think these judges judge things. But yeah, that's all in all what I wanted to talk about today. Um, Sorry if I ran off onto tangents that you didn't care about, but I really did do what I wanted to talk about this time. I really want to talk about that Childish Gambino video mostly, all the different types of songs that are similar to that, so that anyone that thinks that it's new and innovative or so breathtakingly awesome, like, don't discredit all these other people that have done um, many songs that were similar to the same thing, or even like back on that thing, like a lot of these songs sound very depressing or very dark whenever you hear them because they're talking about the inequalities or injustices. But then there's like a lot of other songs that are a little bit more positive. Like Bone did a song called "Change the World," and it's still talking about how horrible the world is, but they want to change it for something positive. Tupac also did a song called "Changes," so like there's still, yeah, we're shedding light on a darker matter because we like, oh, all these people are out here doing things wrong, whatever, but they're still upbeat, more positive message about like, let's change the world for a better place. So even those things were big deal for their times and innovative too. But it's just kind of funny how we forget. So I just kind of want to shed light on, like, don't forget about people of the past who have had the same message as Childish Gambino. But still salutes and hats off to him for doing a great video and a great song. I think the millennials have made it go viral and made it such a big thing, and a lot of people are talking about it. So I think that's still positive, like regardless of whoever relayed that message. I just wanted to shed my opinion about it being groundbreaking and new. Again, Nichole Arbor's trash for her song because the song sucked. Not like it could have been a better song. She should have rethought it, done something different. We talked about boxing. Again, this is kind of stuff I want to bring you guys my opinion. Talk about music. And as soon as I figure out how this Anchor app works with letting you guys call in, you guys can call in for questions. I will set that up. I think the next episode I'm going to give an email address, and you guys can email me, and we can broaden this conversation a little bit. You guys can ask me questions or tell me things you guys liked about my show, and we can just build off of that. But again, that I just want to, I appreciate everyone for checking me out, listening. I'm still waiting to go live on a couple other platforms. Right now, I know I'm on the Anchor app. I'm on the Pocket Podcast app, I think is what it is. But I'm still waiting for iTunes and Google Play to approve me. I know it's only a matter of time. Again, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I salute all of you guys. Peace, love, positive light, prayers, and all that good jazz to everyone who needs it. I don't really have I want to try and give you guys a positive thought or something like that to walk away with. I don't think I really have anything on my right now to leave you guys on. Let's see, sorry if I sound a little funny. It's allergy season. I'm trying to deal with that. And their mileage are just now starting to kind of bother me. So I apologize for if my voice sounds a little weird, if I sound a little stuffy, or anything like that. I kind of just woke up like, let me just get out here and get to work and on this podcast for you, because I want to get launched before I go to work today. But yeah, man. I hope you guys like this episode. I hope you guys like what I'm doing. I'm still gonna continue to bring you more content. Like, I'm gonna be bringing more beats. I'm gonna more podcasts will be coming weekly. Each week, I want to drop a new podcast for you guys. So if I don't drop one, man, tweet me at sleepyj.com or tweet me at sleepyj. or comment on my Instagram, tell me like, hey, you haven't, just keep on me if you don't see me posting weekly. Stay on it. But I want to give you that. I want to start blogging or vlogging with my YouTube channel, and I just want to bring you a lot more content, new music and things like that. So as things develop, I'll continue to grow that and show you guys. And I apologize for all the ums that I say. It's just more of a let me think about what I'm trying to say and process that. But anyways, you guys have a great day. Again, I appreciate you guys for checking me out. Take it easy.